Gabby, the happy holiday girl. Who says you have to wait until certain times of the year to get to celebrate? When every day's a holiday, we can combat stress and have more opportunities to have fun with our friends and family. Come, celebrate with me, and together we can live a holiday life. Hey, what's going on, holiday lifers? It's your girl Gabby, and today is National Bird Day, a day completely dedicated toward the beautiful creatures that God created to soar around our skies and inspire us to fly higher and chase after our dreams. It's those who continue to believe in the impossible who soar to heights like Peter Pan and make a difference in the world. I'm so excited, guys. This is my very first episode where I have an interview. So I'm really proud of myself. One of my goals for 2021 has been accomplished. Now the goal is not finished. I hope to have more interviews throughout the rest of the year, but I'm happy to at least have put that tiny little stone in my jar of accomplishments, and hopefully I'll add many more stones to my metaphorical jar as the year goes on. Birds have represented many different things to various peoples, cultures, and civilizations throughout the world over the course of many millennia. And the hope is that after listening to today's podcast, you as well as myself will do everything that we can do to help ensure that birds are around for many, many more years to come. To start off today's National Bird Day, I want to begin with my quote of the day. I'm really excited about it, guys. As you know, I've began this trend of starting off our podcast with an inspirational quote, and so here it goes. It's from Israel Moore Ayavor, and the quote is this: "The bird dares to break the shell, then the shell breaks open, and the bird can fly openly. This is the simplest principle of success. You dream, you dare, and you fly." So for all those, all the dreamers out there, all those who believe in Peter Pan and magic and that they can make a difference in the world, the principle that he put forth is very, very, very simple. First, you have the dream, that thing that you have inside your heart, inside your head, maybe that idea you've never told anybody about. What you do is you make the decision to act on it. And when you make that decision, everything around you conspires to help you succeed. So you have the faith. Now, I imagine it's not easy for that bird to peck its way out of that eggshell. But you know what's funny is from the outside point of view, we know that the bird will emerge. We know that the bird will succeed because we see it happen throughout nature. And what's funny is that's the perspective that God has on our lives. He already sees the whole picture. So we're like those little birds in the dark in that shell. And it can be so frightening because you see nothing inside of the shell. You have no way of knowing what the outside is going to be like. You don't know what you are trying to emerge into, but you know you have this desire. There's something that you just have to do. And so because the essence of the bird is to be the bird, it is inevitable that it won't do everything within its power to break out of the shell. The same way, because you were born destined to succeed, it's inevitable unless you choose, unless you make the absolute decision to choose to stop trying. And you know what? I understand. For a long time, it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to encourage people, but I didn't know how I was going to go about doing that. I didn't know what platform I was going to use. I'm not a preacher, and quite frankly, I felt as though I had made more than enough mistakes in my own life. So who am I to be talking to somebody else about how they should be living? But nevertheless, when God puts a destiny or a word in your life, that word will not leave you until it's been accomplished. So choose to believe and have faith that calling, that dream, that special thing that God's put inside of you, whether it's athletics, whether it's teaching, whether it's preaching, whether it's music, I don't know. But that thing that you really enjoy doing, it is for you. Don't question it because somebody else you may see, it seems like they have a bit more success and you're just not right there at the time. Don't be discouraged because we all have our own successes and our own failures and our own lessons and our own moments for us. And so don't compare your life with somebody else's. Do things in your own time and trust and believe that things will work out for you. And one day you'll be standing and soaring on top of the mountain like the birds and the eagles. And you'll be calling out to others who are down below and beckoning them to come further, to fly up higher because you were once where they were and you know what the journey's like. But because you've been through the journey and you've reached the mountaintop, you can see how beautiful it is, and you'll be able to encourage others. And now that I've spoken my piece about our quote of the day, I really am so excited about my interview. So I won't delay any longer. Here's my interview of the day. Hey, Janelle.
Hi,
Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm super excited. I'm good. You are my first interview for my Holiday Life podcast. Guys, I'm so excited. You all knew that this was one of my New Year's resolutions. And so I'm so happy to be able to have a guest on talking all about today's topic. We are talking about hashtag National Bird Day. Super exciting. Janelle, you actually went to school for biology, didn't you?
Environmental studies. So yeah, so which is basically the study of the environment and how we humans have a role in that environment. So one thing that I do at my job is just making sure companies make better environmental decisions and having a better understanding of their impact on the environment.
That is so amazing. We have, just so you guys know, Janelle and I, we typically have conversations about the environment and these effects. And so I thought because of the career path she works in, that she would be a great authoritative source for me to interview today. So, Janelle, I was reading a really staggering fact that I had come across in Business Insider that said that North America has lost nearly 3 billion birds in the last 50 years. Did you know that?
Unfortunately, yeah. So one thing that is kind of not really well known is just how much of an impact people do have on the environment. I mean, we have general discussions about climate change and pollutions and stuff like that, but we don't really get a good sense of how we as humans play a role in even how the animal can thrive in the environment. And that fact that you just talked about is an example of how we as humans play a role in whether or not a species thrives.
What are some I guess what are some ideas or suggestions because you've studied the environment? Excuse me, I thought you went to school for biology. Honestly, guys, I've known Janelle for a while, and so I knew she was interested in animals. So I'm sorry for getting that a little
That's
bit off.
okay.
But what are some suggestions you have for us listeners and us, the people who would like to be more environmentally proactive? What are some things that maybe we can change to maybe help the birds out a little bit? Because that's a very staggering fact. And actually, I know you have a pet bird yourself, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I've had her for 10 years now.
10 years?
Yeah.
I did not know a little bird lived that long. I knew that. I guess the bigger ones live for a long time, but I didn't know little pet birds live that long. Nevertheless, what are some suggestions maybe you have for me and the listeners today for maybe things we can do to help positively impact the environment?
Yeah. So one thing that I always think is the most important thing is to reduce the amount of plastics you use.
Plastics?
I don't, yes. So single use plastics, like example, water bottles,
Uh huh.
plastic bags, the rings around, like if you buy, um, let's say, a 12 pack of soda, because all those plastics eventually get disposed of and they can wind up in the environment. And that can play a really significant harm on the environment. I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with like the pictures of like the rings of the soda cans being around a bird or a turtle or animal's neck, or um, the plastic bags can wind up in the ocean, and turtles confuse them for jellyfish because they eat jellyfish. And so people have found like plastic bags in turtle stomachs.
Oh, that's
Uh,
really sad.
so Yeah, that is, I feel, the most, I wouldn't say the
Tangible.
easiest, because, yeah, I wouldn't say, definitely not the easiest, but something that someone could be more conscious of,
Well, yeah. Uh,
is because it's the difference of choosing a plastic bag versus a paper bag, or even bringing a reusable bag.
Huh. So yeah, I guess I never really thought that much about the water bottles that we use. We recycle at home. Right? We have a trash bin, and then I recently bought another trash can so that we could double it as a recycling bin. Because guys, whenever you're a newbie at recycling and you're really trying, the recycling can really pile up
Yeah,
around the house, and that's just. And
yeah.
then it ends up. It's so unfortunate. It ends up in the trash because you just can't. And you also have to clean out the recycling, don't you?
Mhm.
Yeah, and so if you're kinda behind because you got dishes and you're trying to clean out the recycling just so it can go into the recycling bin, it can really become a lot. So, one thing I at least tried to do so that it wouldn't pile up in my kitchen sink was grab this extra trash bin so that inside of our house, we have a dedicated recycling bin as well. So, it's simple things like that,
Mhm.
that at least having the extra I guess, exit strategy for the trash in our house as opposed to only one trash can and having to physically walk to the
Mhm.
curb to go recycle. Because some days it gets cold
Mhm.
and in all honesty, the trash
Mhm.
can seems pretty easy. So it's good for you listeners who want to find a better recycling strategy. Just grab another trash can. It can be nice. It can be a nice stainless steel one to go along with whatever else you have. And you can just double that as a recycling bin inside of your home as opposed to having to always walk to the curb or wherever else you need to go to recycle. So it was a fun. I'm really grateful for your time and for that simple tip to be more aware of
Yeah, of
those
course.
plastic rings that are on our bottles and how we can do better about making sure we intentionally make sure all those little parts, because I think a lot of times we think about for sure the cap and the bottle, but it's those little rings
Mhm.
that make an even bigger impact than even just the whole bottle
Mhm.
itself. Well, thanks, Janelle. I appreciate your time. Continue doing everything that you do, and I'm sure we will be talking again in the future. So thanks for everything.
You're welcome.
I'll talk to you later.
Alrighty, bye.
And now it's time for our activity of the day. Take some time and sit on your front porch today, guys, and really just pay attention to the birds that are around. And just be appreciative now, knowing that we are in the middle of the world's sixth mass extinction. It's kind of scary, guys. Pay attention to the animals, the wildlife that are around, and really be appreciative. Have a few moments of silence outside and see how many different bird sounds you can hear. I was aware that some of our larger breeds of cats around the world have been going extinct, like the Indian cheetah, but I had no clue that birds were going extinct as well. So pay attention and be appreciative of those sounds you hear on your front porch. They may not be here in a few years. Just food for thought. So, what do you think? Are you more appreciative of the birds in your neighborhood today? And are you willing to make the necessary changes to help ensure that birds are around in the future? Head on over to aholidaylife.com now for more holiday fun. There you can sign up to receive a free monthly calendar full of fun holiday activities for every day. You can also leave me a voicemail of what you're doing to celebrate the holiday. You might be on my next episode. Also, if you like my podcast, please be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcast, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. You can follow me on social media by using @aholidaylife on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, and @aholidaylife podcast on Instagram. And for more holiday fun, head on over to my sister podcast, Holiday Trivia, to give my trivia questions a shot. If you get 3 or more out of 5 questions correct, you're well on your way to becoming a holiday lifer. Until next time, keep celebrating the holidays, stay safe, and live a holiday life. I'll talk to you tomorrow.